We're going to comment on Jordan's take about some of the people he finds himself politically and ideologically opposed to. Let's go.
Many of the people who have an animus against me, and almost all those people are anonymous online trolls, by the way, because I never encounter that, or virtually never in my actual life. Quite the contrary. I think they're very, very irritated that my simple-minded prescriptions, like take some responsibility for yourself and don't play the victim because it's not good for you or for anyone else. I think they're very, very annoyed that, first of all, I'm calling them out on their hypothetically empathic virtue signaling attempts to escape from all possible responsibility, which is exactly what they're doing. And second, they're very annoyed that the simple ideas that I've been putting forward and the simple, somewhat conservative ideas in that they're traditional, they're very annoyed that those work. And then they're also annoyed because I have this very deep interest in religious issues that also, grates on people to some degree. And this is something you and I are going to talk about because it overlaps with our interest in mimetic ideas, because religious ideas are mimetic ideas, for better or worse, and we can talk about that. So, and then I think I'm also probably enabling, to the degree that I'm enabling young men and speaking to them about the virtues of their ambition instead of dismissing them as pathological, patriarchal oppressors. That's also very annoying, especially to the types of men that you're describing who want to sneak about in the background and pretend to be virtuous and harmless, which is a pretty damn pathetic way of comporting yourself, in my estimation. Like, I've watched those kind of men operate in the protests against me, and so I can be surrounded by a mob of pretty decent screaming harpies. And, they're annoying as can possibly be imagined. But when I look at the men that are with them, they just make my blood run cold. Like, and that's with my clinical eye, those are not good people. They're hanging around those women who are doing the harpy thing, and they're there as exactly the kind of parasitical predator that you're describing. And I can see that, and they're not the sort of person that you would want anyone you cared for to have any association with whatsoever. Plus, because they have to be sneaky fuckers in your terminology, they're bitter and resentful, and they're very likely to want to tear down anything that approximates true accomplishment, because all those who have true accomplishment are their genuine competitors. And that's partly why I think the radical left-wing authoritarians go after merit so assiduously, is that they operate on a completely non-meritorious basis, and it's in their best interest to present merit itself as a falsehood to take out their sexual competitors.
I felt compelled to talk about this because what Jordan is talking about here, the types of men especially that he's talking about here, are people in particular at length and at a very intimate interpersonal level had to deal with one of these types of people for quite a bit, coming from Washington State and coming from one of the more left-wing areas of Washington State. I am intimately familiar with these people's tactics, modes of behavior, and I can personally vouch that everything Jordan is saying here is 100% accurate. These sneaky fuckers, as Gad refers to them, these parasitic, borderline psychopaths and narcissists, as I would describe them, they have no regard for other people. They have no conception or even the willingness to entertain conception of higher morality. And all of their thinking is centered on short-term hedonic satisfaction to the great detriment of themselves and everyone around them. And as I previously alluded to, myself included. So when I saw Jordan talk about this on his podcast, I found it to be immensely validating that someone with his level of education and intellect had noticed the same things that I had seen play out in my personal life. So I just wanted to talk about it, highlight it, and bring it to the attention of my audience that these people are real, and if you've been lucky enough to not have to deal with them so far, I recommend you try to keep it that way. Stay out of areas that are densely populated by people of the left-wing persuasion. and start calling this nonsense out when you see it, if you are unlucky enough to encounter it. Make shaming this kind of behavior great again. So I appreciate you being here. I'll see you on the next adventure. Best way to support me is to hit the sub button and share the video around. We'll catch you later.